What's coming your way in May 2026? Let's find out using tarot. My name is Emmarie, and I'm going to help you channel a message from Spirit. All you need to do is pick one of these three piles. Let's look up each pile up close, and whichever pile calls to you the most, whichever card, that is your message. If you need to, you can pause the video and meditate on each image, but let's go ahead and look at them up close. Pile 1 is the Hierophant. Pile 2 is the Knight of Cups. Pile 3 is the Eight of Pentacles. All right, once you have your pile in mind, all you need to do is scroll to that part of the video, or if it's easier, you can go into the description and comments of this video and click the link to your section. So let's go ahead and get started. Hello, Pile 1, the Hierophant pile. Welcome to your May 2026 tarot reading. This card that you were drawn to is a sign that you want something organized. You want to marry yourself to some sort of plan or tradition or routine. So let's go ahead and find out more about that. First, let's pull 3 cards for insight into the beginning, middle, and end of your month. What is going to happen throughout the course of the month? Spirit, what is happening for Pile 1? The beginning of the month, we have the Emperor, which pairs really well with the Hierophant card, and this is a sign that some sort of organizing, very collected person, perhaps yourself, is going to really take control of this month. The middle of the month is the Knight of Swords. Again, I believe this is actually you. This is actually you transitioning by the middle of the month to someone who really takes action. And then the end of the month, we have the Seven of Pentacles, which is about investing in the future. So let's discuss this. This is a very sequential, organized month for you, which means it's going to be an amazing month to make progress on some sort of goal you have, whatever it is. But the Emperor is you looking at the big picture at the beginning of the month, creating plans, setting plans. It's not about attending to all the small details. It is really about executing and initiating what you believe is important. The middle of the month is you actually taking action on that, you pursuing something, even if you're not completely ready to do so, but pursuing it. And by the end of the month, you would have made amazing progress to the point that not only did you manifest something, but now at the end of the month, you're thinking of what sort of future plans do you need to make and what can you do for the future? How can you invest in yourself in the future? So amazing. Really take advantage of this month. It's probably going to be one of your most productive throughout this year. Now let's pull 4 cards for each area of your life: your spirituality, your relationships, your career, materialism, that sort of thing, and then your personal development. Spirit, what is going on throughout the multiple topics of Pile 1's life? So for your spirituality, we have the Magician. So this is actually an indication that yes, you are being organized, but you're being organized in such a way that you are visualizing, scripting, and then manifesting something. So this isn't just a type A sort of productivity. You're really connecting with the divine here. You're really thinking about your true purpose. You're thinking about who is helping you in the spirit world. And the Hierophant, that is the card of marriage. This could be an indication of relationships, but more particular is that marriage is a sacrament, or it has some sort of spiritual indication in many religions. So I really see this as you marrying yourself, that long-term investment in something that really matters to you. So before you act on anything it is that you want to do this month, before you execute, really think about the big picture of what you're trying to achieve and how it is aligned to something big, something important. Because how that is aligned in the spiritual world is going to relate to how well it can manifest. As above, so below. So as what is higher aligned, you are going to manifest it in the world. So the more aligned it is, the better you are to be able to manifest it. My recommendation here, meditation, journaling, connecting with your spirit guides. You really have a lot of choices here. Just do what feels right to you, but do it. Do it before you make your plan, and then maybe after you make your plan, double check. So for your relationships, we have the Two of Pentacles reversed. So you're going to really struggle relating to other people. I think in particular here, you're going to be so focused on your goals, so focused on your future, that you may not be considering how other people relate to that. I often see this in relationship readings where someone desperately wants to fall in love and they try to look at anyone they meet as the person that is going to fill that role. They don't even really care about falling in love with the person. They want to achieve a relationship. And I think you are at risk of that, especially this month, to where you're not thinking about how your relationships are going to factor in. A really good example is sometimes people want to have a really important job or be really busy at work, and they think, you know what, I'm not going to have time in my life for children. But the data does show that people who have children actually are more motivated to succeed. They work hard at work, they are more successful, and that is just because they are motivated. They know that it's more than just their ego and their personal success that is dependent on their job, their future, their goals. They want to succeed for their children. So really try to incorporate the people in your life, or the people you would like to be in your life and your goals. Who do you want to celebrate your future successes with? Who do you want to work for? And this could be someone you end up falling in love with. It could be children, that's possible. It could be anyone who relies on you. Or it could be a devoted friend, a friend group, or a community. But there needs to be a social element to your goals. So definitely include how they are going to be incorporated or matter in those goals. And it's really important that you do it this month. If possible, practice your social integration with your smaller goals. For example, how many hours a week do you want to work on your goals? Do you have time to spend with the people you love? That's something you have to consider. So for your career goals, all those sort of things, the material things, we have the Six of Pentacles reversed. So you are going to be spending a lot of money. You are going to be investing in yourself. It is okay to buy a course. It is okay to buy a book. It's okay to go to training, whatever it is you want to do. Make it shorter term, however. Don't suddenly decide this month, you know what, you're going to enroll in a $20,000 a year university program. That's something that's going to require more thought, but it's okay to spend a little bit of money this month to fund your future, to fund your personal development. And as for your personal development, that card is the Ace of Cups reversed. You are very devoted to your goals, but are you making goals that actually matter to you? It's great to be successful, and I want you to be successful, pile one, but you need to make sure that you are aligning with goals that matter. This goes back to the children example. When people have kids, they work harder at their jobs, They tend to be more successful. They tend to make more money than someone who is single, or even just a couple that is married. It's a surprising statistic, but it seems to hold true in general, despite some people making less. But why would you, if you have time before the goal manifests, align with a goal that you don't love? That person who wants to have kids, it's perfectly fine to be a nurse, that's perfectly fine, but what if they actually wanted to be a doctor? And what if they made the personal sacrifice to have fewer hobbies or fewer fun things to do, and they just focus, for example, on going to medical school and then having a baby if that's something they wanted to do, and just realize that you don't have to pick a goal just because it is success. You should pick a goal that matters, because that parent who becomes a doctor because they wanted to become a doctor instead of a nurse is going to be more satisfied with their job in the long term by doing that. Don't take shortcuts. Don't just pick something because it is prestige or because it's something you feel like you must do. Go ahead and pick goals that personally matter to you, because it is so much better to be successful at something you wanted to be successful at. So definitely practice that this month with your goals. Try to pick goals that actually you resonate with, not just something you can achieve, but something that truly matters to you. So definitely look at your goals and ask yourself, is this something I want to do, or am I just doing this because it's impressive? A lot of people who like to read will sometimes read really hard books or difficult books, and they actually hate those books, but they want to be impressive. That's another example of setting goals to be successful instead of setting goals that really matter to them. Maybe they would like silly books. That's perfectly fine, but make sure you are setting goals that matter to you, pile one. Now let's ask your spirit animal this month, the spirit animal who is going to come in and assist you with your goals, what you need to know. Spirit animal of pile one, what advice do you have for them this month? What is important? So your spirit animal is the dog spirit. Be loyal to what you love. So be aware that dogs are very common animals in most countries. So any dog that you see may not be a special spirit animal message, but if there is an unusual experience with a dog, that is your spirit animal manifesting as a specific dog to help you. So pay attention to that. But overall, this particular spirit animal is telling you that you need loyalty. Not just loyalty to the people that you love, but loyalty to what you love. And we see this with dogs, right? They have favorite toys, they have favorite places they like to sleep, and they go back to it again and again. And you know what? It makes the dog very, very happy. So understand that when you are loyal to yourself, you make yourself happier, you make yourself more productive, because a sad dog can't do tricks. They're just devastated. It is absolutely depressing to see a dog that is really suffering, but a dog that is happy can achieve amazing things. And I believe this is actually a border collie. A border collie is a very intelligent dog. It is able to achieve a lot, and they're able to achieve more when they're happy and they're enjoying their job. So that's something to consider. That's what you need to consider. That is your motto this month. Keep telling yourself, I am loyal to what and who I love, and watch how that makes a difference. Let's pull a card from the Oracle of the Fairies to see what the spiritual energy of the place around you would like to say. There are spiritual beings everywhere, and they are powerful, and sometimes they can be quite influential. Spirit Pile one's spirit of place. What do you want them to know? So we have moon energy. Surrender to the natural ebb and flow of life. If you're feeling confused, This fairy comes to calm emotions and reassure you that peace of mind is possible. So look up, be aware of the moon. This month, it's okay if you don't do it after this month, but this month, look up what are the main phases of the moon. Most people consider the four, the first quarter moon, the full moon, the new moon, the last quarter moon, those sort of things, but at least consider the full moon or new moon, whichever one you catch, and if possible, look outside or align your plans to that. A new moon is when you start something new. A full moon is when it culminates or finishes or peaks. But really start looking into the importance of moons in people's planning, because I think that would be a really good exercise for you. And even if you don't act on that this month in particular, look it up and then be prepared to do that next month, because in June, because I think practicing planning according to a moon cycle will teach you how to make good short-term goals. And then your last card today is from the Spellcasting Oracle. Let's see what you need to know about achieving your goals and being successful. What does pile 1 need to know? What is important here? Your last card today is New Beginnings. Every month is an opportunity to start over. It is an opportunity to start a new project, a new chapter of an existing project, or to return to a project that you are struggling with new energy. This is actually some sort of psychological effect. Every Monday, every start of the month, every new year, we just perceive things with a fresh slate. And so what I want you to do is to experience that this month. Look at this month as a way to start new, start fresh. And I think that will really help you to relax and release yourself from the burdens of plans you start that didn't work out or didn't go the way that you wanted. Because one thing you need to know about being successful is that a lot of people who are successful have a series of failures beforehand. Now, that's not saying you're going to fail. Some people are super lucky and succeed, it seems, from birth to death. But I want you to know that you can be successful no matter what you felt about your past, no matter how stressed you may feel about goals you set that didn't come true, about setting the wrong goals and not being loyal to yourself. May 2026 is a new beginning for you. You get to choose what plans you create for yourself. You get to choose what options you pursue or start to pursue or start planning to pursue. You have the power. You have free will. And pile 1, I am sending you so much love and blessings to be able to manifest that. If you resonated with this reading today, be sure to like and subscribe for more. You can also book a private reading in the comments and description of this video, but otherwise, pile 1, I think you are going to have an amazing May. You are going to be so excited to see what you can do. And I am so glad that we get to experience this energy of yours this month. So I am sending you the best of luck. Hello, pile 2, my Knight of Cups pile. Welcome to your May 2026 tarot reading. So you are drawn to the card Knight of Cups because you are set to have a very romanticized May. This is a slower, more deliberate lifestyle where you are immersed in emotions and powerful sentimental experiences. So let's go ahead and start shuffling for some tarot cards for some more context. First, we're going to pull 3 cards for the beginning, middle, and end of the month, so we can figure out what the trajectory of your life next month is going to be. Spirit, what is happening in pile 2's life? May 2026. For the beginning of the month, we have the 6 of Cups. You are going to be really immersed in the past, in past memories and sentiments, and if possible, you're going to want to meet with people you knew in the past or you already have a close connection with. The middle of the month is the Nine of Swords. So you are going to feel a little bit of anxiety in the middle of the month. So there is something called rumination. And rumination is when you really trap yourself in a line of thinking. And sometimes it can start out with a lot of positive thoughts, but then you revisit the past and you think, oh, what if I could have done it a different way? Or I don't like my life now and I wish I could go back to the way things were before. And it's wonderful to revisit the past, but a lot of times people who are very romantic tend to be emotional in a negative sense. A really good example of this are poets. They can make really powerful and potent poetry, but at the same time, they can be a little bit fatalistic. And so it's important to realize that with all the good that comes with this energy this month, you may accidentally trap yourself in a cycle of negative emotions because you have powerful highs, but you also have powerful lows. The end of the month is the Five of Cups, accepting something that you have lost. So the good thing is that you are going through this mental rumination, but I think at the end of the month, you are going to accept what is lost. You are going to recognize that it's not just about appreciating the past, but about appreciating what you have now. So one thing that you can do to really lower the effect of this Nine of Swords is actually to consider gratitude. And you can consider daily gratitude, but because this is so in reference to past things, I want you to do this exercise after the video. What are 5 things about your past that you are really grateful for, but you're also happy to have a different lifestyle now? So, for example, imagine someone who used to live in a small town and they loved it so much. It was a great experience, but now they live in the city. One thing they could say is to frame their gratitude like this: I loved living in a small town as a child because I felt safe and I really enjoyed all the connections I had to the people there. But I also am grateful to live in the city I do now. There are so many exciting experiences. So what I want you to see there is that you can be grateful for things in the past, but you can also be grateful for things now, even if they're different. And so I want you to write your gratitude statements that way. Have the past and the present, and have something to be grateful about both of them. So it's good to compare here, but compare in a way that is emotionally productive for you. Now, let's pull 4 cards for the different areas of your life: spirituality, relationships, your material life, and your personal improvement. Spirit, let's learn about pile 2's general life this month. What do they need to know about May? I just thought of 90s pop. It may be in sync where they say it's going to be me, but it sounds like it's going to be May. And so one thing you might enjoy this month is to revisit things you liked in the past, even if you don't like them as much now, because that is a good way to experience gratitude. Music that you really loved when you were younger, and then listen to music you really love now. You're going to see the difference and you're going to be able to appreciate the difference. That's a good exercise as well. So when it comes to your spirituality, we have the Five of Swords reversed. You're going to feel at a loss here. So you are probably very intuitive. You may have some psychic abilities. You may not have completely manifested them yet. But one thing I've noticed is that most people who are super intuitive and super in touch with their emotions can sometimes have a very negative spiritual relationship with spiritual beings. maybe they see ghosts, maybe they feel antagonism towards spirits, maybe they got involved with a spiritual community, and those people like hex and curse, which is just awful. But I think there is something about your spiritual life that is negative, and I really want you to journal on that or meditate on that this month and figure out if you should let that part of your spiritual life go or seek help. For example, you could leave a negative spiritual community, but if it's something you can't leave, if you're someone who sees ghosts or you are dealing with spirits and you're really struggling with it, this could be a sign that you should either learn spiritual protection or seek out assistance from people who know how to protect you. But definitely consider that this month. You are very psychic, you are very intuitive, and I think that you are more spiritually vulnerable than you're willing to admit, but you can have a spiritual life without having to deal with the spiritual cons. Like, you can treat those, you can fix those. Now, for your relationships, we have the Two of Cups reversed. I'm really getting this intuitive download right now that part of your intuitive connection to the world could lead you to be very empathetic, but empathetic in such a way that you latch onto the emotions of other people, and when they feel upset, you feel upset. And so I also want you to practice creating these energy barriers to protect you spiritually, to protect you when people are just being difficult. This could also be a sign that you could have attachments to the past, and it's hard to let go, it's hard to move on in your life because you're still feeling those emotions. And so I really want you to consider if you have unhealthy attachments that you need to let go, or even if you know people right now that you have an unhealthy attachment to, fix that attachment. Use perhaps a cord cutting ritual. You can look those up and really figure out how to sever that connection or improve that connection with those barriers, because you don't have to have these negative relationships. For your material life, we have the Six of Wands. So something positive is happening here. So one thing I noticed in the romantic movement of the 19th century, the 1800s, is that people who were super focused on romanticism, or I believe the transcendentalists in the United States, they were super into nature, super into sensation, sensory experiences. They would go out into nature and really perceive things in the environment. And I think this shows that your material life, your life in the third dimension, can be so vibrant, so radiant, but you have to be present. And in your career, you can experience a lot of good. It doesn't have to just be a bore. It can be something that you really immerse yourself in, really enjoy the process in. And I want you to consider what is something in your life right now that if you really allowed yourself to be present to enjoy the experience, it would change things for you. A common example I see is when people do the dishes. I hate doing the dishes, but I've been doing it more lately. And one thing I do is I try to enjoy the sensation of the bubbles, of the warm water, of the meditative process of cleaning the dishes step by step. And sometimes I will listen to music I enjoy or an audiobook, but I make it a very enjoyable sensation, and that makes the process, even though it can take half an hour to an hour and a half, we do a lot of cooking in my household, it's not as bad as it could be. And so I want you to do that this month. Be present, be mindful, find things to enjoy about your experience, your career, your hobbies, just your general physical experience, and watch how your life improves this month. I think you'll be impressed. Now, for general life improvement, general personal development, we have the Sun reversed. Again, this goes back to that romantic energy where you are super focused on intense experiences. And sometimes when people have intense experiences, they will seek out thrills or things that are really heavy. They'll watch horror movies. They'll listen to sad music, and that's perfectly fine. That's good in small doses. But when you do that too much, it can affect your thinking, it can give you nightmares, it can make you depressed. So I want you to find something in your life that is really happy, that is really chipper. And it could be listening to happy music, it could be watching a happy movie, or if it has some sad elements, it has a happy ending. Um, it could be a hobby you just enjoy doing, but turn that frown upside down. Use the power of romanticism, of those powerful emotional experiences for good to make you happy. You will be you will just have a much better month. Don't fall to the sadness that this energy can bring. You can make it a truly positive experience. Choose happiness. So let's pull your oracle cards this month. The first thing I'm going to do is pull a card for your spirit animal. Now, this may be a spirit animal that you already recognize, or it could be a temporary spirit animal lending their energy, but let's see what their wisdom message is for you this month. Pile 2, spirit animal, what do you have to say for their May 2026? What is important for them to know? So your spirit animal is the lizard spirit. Dream the world into being. So you may see a lizard in your real life. That could be a sign if it's in a weird circumstance or an unusual circumstance. Just any old lizard, if you have a lot of lizards in your area, may not be the case. But this lizard spirit is an indication, because we have all of this fire energy, that when you visualize, when you think of something in your mind, you can create it in your world through fine expertise, through fine motor details. This goes back to the sun, where you choose to make something happy. So when people, as an example, read books or watch movies or listen to music, they are often inspired to create something of their own. And one thing you can realize is that your influence of all the media that you're consuming will influence what you create, will influence your dreams. And so I want you to really immerse yourself in content that inspires you to create a world you want to live in. So if you want to really focus on a creative project, think about how you'll feel making that project. If it's going to make you depressed and really upset, even if it may have a higher meaning, try to skip that this month. Focus on something that will make you happy. So definitely choose happier content, and really think about a world that is happy. Okay, an example I saw on social media actually is perfect. They were talking about how Jane Austen, the author of Pride and Prejudice, wrote books for the society that she hoped would exist. I don't know if I agree with that interpretation exactly, but I like the idea of that for your reading. You can create a piece of artwork or work on a piece of artwork that addresses an issue you wish existed in the world. This is what a lot of people do with fantasy. They create a fantasy with some element, even if there are some dramatic or tragic elements, but some element that they wish existed in the real world, like magic. Harry Potter is a good example of that. People wish that there were magical schools you could go to, but understand that your imagination is powerful. Your imagination influences people. And this could be a creative project, or it could be the dream you have for your life. How would you imagine living if you could design that day? There's just so many possibilities here. I don't want to get too specific, because I sense you're a creative person and you could apply this in a literal way, like through a creative project, through the way you live your life. Some people say that fashion is their creativity and they do it that way, but really trust your creativity, trust your inspiration, and manifest the world you want to see. So let's pull a card from the spirit of place around you, from the Oracle of the Fairies. Let's see what they have to say. Spirit of pile two's place, what do you have to say? So we have the Lost and Found card. I definitely felt that there is a negative spiritual energy around you, and I think this card represents that a little bit. What was once lost is about to be found thanks to the Lost and Found fairy. Sometimes she can help us find things we never even realized were lost. So people believe that sometimes things disappear in your life and some sort of spiritual being is the cause. I have experienced this a few times. I never misplace things. I can find something I put in a random place 10 years ago and I can find it in 20 seconds. I'm just really good at that. But there are these weird cases where something disappears and then I keep looking for it and then suddenly it is right in an open place that I had already looked before. And so I think there's something similar to that happening this month. It could be a literal object that you found that was lost, or something about your life that you found that you didn't realize you had lost, but now you can pursue it again. And so I do think there are mischievous spirits in your life, but there is another spirit who is trying to help you out. It could be tied to that lizard, but it could also be tied to any familiars you have. For example, we see a cat here. If you have a pet, they have a special spiritual relationship to you. They may help you in ways that you don't realize. But there's going to be something you find this month that you lost, and it's going to really matter to you. Consider it a lucky charm, or just be really thrilled that this is a confirmation. There is at least one spiritual being in your life that is looking out for your good. So your last card today is going to be from the Spellcasting Oracle, and this is going to be how you can manifest a better life this month. So let's pull a card there. How can pile 2 manifest the best life possible in May? So your last card today is beauty. So I want you to consider beauty this month. It can be beauty that you groom on yourself. It could be clothes you wear. It could be the beauty you create in the world. It could be the way you organize your house, or like the romantics and transcendentalists used to do, they would go out into nature and perceive beauty, or they would go to museums and look at art, or they would read beautiful poetry. But I want you to really meditate on beauty this month. Immerse yourself in it. It is inspirational and it can lift up your mood. But remember, try to pick at least slightly more happy things than sad things because it can influence you. But this beauty is just, it is a reminder of the enchantment of the world, of the spiritual good of the world. And I want you to experience that beauty. Focus on it this month. I feel like your spread was a little bit ambiguous, but I do believe that is partly because you are very creative, you are very intuitive, and Spirit wanted to make sure that you use this as inspiration and not as a guidebook, because I think you have some really good ideas and I want you to pursue them. Definitely do that this month. You're going to be impressed with yourself. Otherwise, if you resonated with this reading, be sure to like and subscribe for more. You can also go into the description and comments of this video to book a private reading with me. But otherwise, pile 2, I am sending you many blessings this month. I hope you have an amazing next few weeks. Hello, pile 3, my 8 of Pentacles pile. Welcome to your tarot reading. Let's figure out what is going to happen in May 2026 for you. First, your theme card, the card you were drawn to for this reading. This is about doing fine details, paying attention, and working hard. So this could be quite a busy month for you, but you're probably going to address things in your life that have gone unaddressed in the past, or you didn't give enough attention to, which is a good sign. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to do is pull a card for your beginning, middle, and end of month. Spirit, what is happening in pile three's life? What do they need to know about the narrative of this month? Beginning, middle, and end. So for the beginning of the month, we have the Nine of Pentacles reversed. You have a wish that is not coming true. So part of the reason why you're going to work so hard is that there is something you've been wanting to achieve, to manifest, but it's not happening. And you're very frustrated. You think this is inexcusable, but you're not giving up. You're saying, you know what? I'm going to change things. I'm going to make sure that this happens. The middle of the month is the Fool reversed. So there is something you're doing wrong. The reason why it's not manifesting isn't bad luck. It's not because it's impossible for it to manifest. It is because something you have been doing has just been the mistaken way of going about it. And you're finally going to figure out what that is. It's going to be a breakthrough, and you're going to have a lot of relief because of that. You're going to fix your life. This makes me think of people who are gaining a lot of weight. They really struggle to be fit, and then they count calories. And for most people, this doesn't fix things overnight, but for those who do count calories, it is the reason why it's recommended when you start out for at least a little while. You can figure out if you're eating something that is really bad for you, but you thought was healthy for you. And I think something like that is going to happen in your life, where you're going to see something that you never even thought of as a problem before, and you're going to realize mid-month, that's the problem. You've identified it. You're looking at the details, and you finally found the line item that is causing you so much grief. So the end of the month, we have the Ace of Pentacles, a new beginning. So yes, you are turning the leaf. You are taking your attention to detail and you are applying it in just the right way. It's a new beginning, so you're not going to manifest things right away, but you know you're on the right track. So you're going to feel really optimistic by the end of the month. You're going to feel really confident. And you know what? I think you have every reason to feel that way because you're working hard in the right way. And this month, you are going to start seeing your life go in the right direction. So now let's pull 4 cards on the different areas of your life: spirituality, relationships, your material life, and then anything about your personal development or anything like that. So let's pull some cards. Spirit, let's look at pile 3's life in general. What is happening in their overall life? So in your spiritual life, we have the Strength card. So you are going to be empowered by divine forces. You are going to feel better. So this Strength card, we see this fighter be really, it looks like they're wrestling this dragon, right? And so what I want you to know is that you need to look at this month as a trial, not as misfortune, not as you just correcting a mistake, but as a spiritual test. The universe is using this month as a spiritual test to see what you can do with your life once you realize that you can change it. So really ask yourself, once you have that breakthrough around the middle of the month, how does this change your life? What opportunities can you pursue? What did you think was impossible before that you now realize is possible? You're going to have a new perspective, and that is because the universe is looking out for you. And this test, it would be amazing if you didn't have to do it, but this test is giving you an opportunity, is going to empower you. Really look forward to it. If possible, really enmesh yourself in spirituality some way. You could go on a special trip into, like, go on a hike, or you could go on a long meditation, something that feels a little bit special to you spiritually. and you'll have some time with your thoughts, and that might get you some spiritual downloads that could really help with this. So let's look at your relationships. We have the Star reversed. Ooh, so it seems as if there is something amiss in your relationships. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you're letting people go, but sometimes we have people in our life that have an influence they shouldn't have. And that could either mean spending less time with them or not bringing up that topic when they are in your presence. And so you really need to think about how the people in your life are bringing you down. Outside the United States, but even in the United States, there are some countries where there's something called tall poppy syndrome. And anytime someone succeeds or is ambitious or tries to improve their life, the people around them get really upset. And so they sabotage them, they tell them they can't succeed, they don't encourage them. And this can cause people who have dreams that are in line with normal life to give up, such as artists or anyone who wants to start a business, anything that requires a risk. They just give up because everyone around them just says it's impossible. And you have somebody like that who is sabotaging you. And they may have good intentions. It may not be them trying to ruin your life on purpose. But you need to learn how to not listen to people on certain issues when it would cause you problems. They are in your way. Do not listen to them when it comes to that. Your material life, we have the Ace of Cups reverse, letting go of something emotionally. So when you make one decision, you choose to not go down other paths. And as you are looking at the mistake that you made, as you are starting over, as you are paying attention to details, you are going to have to let things go. You're going to have to choose to not go down that road. And it could be simply because you don't have enough time, you don't have enough emotional energy, but it's just not for you anymore and you need to let it go. Here's a good example. Let's say someone is pursuing a career in law. They also want to get married and have kids, and they want to read a lot of leisure books each year, but they also want to do other things like play video games, go hiking, play intramural sports. But at some point, all those things that they want to do, which are all good things, great things even, they're going to have to let one of those things go, or at least not make it a consistent hobby. And this is something you need to evaluate in your life. Something that is good, it's perfectly fine. There's no logical reason why you have to give it up for anything like that, but you don't have space for it in your life. You have too much going on, so you need to prioritize what really matters to you. And so you may need to let go of something you like, but don't let go of something you love. Keep the things you love and then let the things that you like fall away. You might occasionally do them, but it's not going to be a consistent part of your life anymore. Now, for your personal development, we have the Three of Cups reversed. Again, this is the social element. We have actually quite a bit of a social element in your card. So something about your social network is very harmful. There is this saying that you are the 5 people you spend the most time with, and the Three of Cups is like the social harmony card, this togetherness card. And so I think you need to consider your social influences. Now, you don't have to let go of people that you truly value. You don't have to go no contact with friends and family that you actually care about. But if possible, you need to influence yourself. A lot of people who are trying to succeed in something start reading books or looking at content or watching videos that are very encouraging. So if you were an artist and everyone in your life believe that artists can't be successful, and it is a hard job, they're not completely wrong, one thing you could do is to watch YouTube videos of people who are professional artists to see what it is actually like to succeed, the struggles, but also the way that people overcome those struggles. And so understand that you need positive influences that encourage you to be your best self, because there is something truly wonderful about you and your goals and what you're wanting to achieve. And so maybe the reason why you're making mistakes is because you aren't thinking from inspiration. You aren't thinking from intuition. You aren't thinking from what you want to do or what feels right to you. You're doing what you feel like you should do because the people around you are saying that is what is a great idea. And it doesn't work for you. And that's fine. That's okay. Work towards what does work for you. You deserve that. So let's look at your oracle cards now. The first thing we are going to do is pull one card for your spirit animal to see what they have to say, what wisdom is important for you to know this month of May. Spirit animal of pile 3. I really wanted to say pirate there. What do you want them to know? What is important? This may seem unrelated, but I really struggle to pronounce R's and L's because of my accent as a kid. When I moved out of the area, I thought I had a speech disorder because that accent, that dialect was different. And so I had to learn how to pronounce words differently. And that was because I felt like I had a speech disorder. I didn't have a speech disorder. It's just the people around me thought I spoke funny, and so I changed it. That is an example of how you can be bothered by something for years, you can have an obstacle for years, and nothing is wrong with you. But the people around you just don't have it in their eyes, in their mind, to see beyond their own biases and prejudices. But here's your spirit animal. Otter spirit, you are never alone. So you may not see otters in your area, you may not see a real living otter, but if you see any images or if you have any weird encounters with an actual otter, that is a specific sign. Pay attention to that. But otherwise, the wisdom message here is you are never alone. So you are almost certainly feeling like this month there is something truly wrong with your social network. And there is, but that doesn't mean that you don't have people who love you, or if you really are alone, there could be someone who chose this pile who is that. You can find people like you. You can find people who relate with you, who have similar goals to you, who you can bond with. And that's something I want you to consider, how important it is to have positive relationships. Let's use an example. Let's say no one in your life supports your career goals. You can still use them as social support, but you're not going to use them for career support. Maybe you go to them to bond with them during holidays or on the weekends, or maybe you talk with them about other values you have in your life, all those sort of things. It is okay to partition the people in your life so that way they can be there for the elements and the experiences you have that you can both share, because it is good to have people in your life. I don't want you to give them up just because there is some social tension in your life in May. So let's look at your spirit of place using the Oracle of the Fairies. What do you need to know? Spirit of place for pile 3. What is important in May for them? What is important? Your card is friendship. Fairies and humans alike need friends. Now is the time to seek out those who will support and encourage you on your journey to fulfill your dreams. So I want you to identify one area of your life where you feel alone. And then I want you to ask yourself, where is a third place where you can meet these people? For example, I come from an atheist agnostic family. My parents, my sibling, my cousins, my grandparents, my great-grandparents on both sides. It is an anomaly, I know. None of them are religious or spiritual. And so I never made friends with Christians growing up. I never made friends with spiritual people growing up. It was just this weird bubble I am in. So if I wanted to make spiritual friends, where would I go? Where is the third place? The place where people meet and bond. That would be a yoga place. It could be a new age bookstore or a spiritual bookstore. It could be a festival where there's a whole bunch of spiritual things. And that's what I want you to consider. Write down the areas of your life where you feel alone or unsupported, and then think of a third place where you can meet these people. If you're unsure, what you can do is research it using search engines or books or even AI. You can just ask them to generate a list. That's fine. That's not going to be too burdensome on your thinking process, but you can find somebody who has a shared interest with you that you can bond with in that area. Find that third place. If you're not going to go to that third place this month, that's fine, but you can start planning it, you can start researching it. That way you'll be ready when it is time to go there. Now, your last card of today is from the Spellcasting Oracle, and we are going to see what you need to do to succeed in your life this month. Spirit, what does pile 3 need to do to succeed this month? Where can they bring magic into their life? Your last card today is love. You need to make choices based off of love. Love for yourself, love for other people, love for the world, love for what you do. Let's imagine someone is a construction worker. They don't want to leave their job. They like it for what it is, and they want to have more love in their life. There are some obvious things they could do. They could look for a partner that they can have a romantic relationship with. They could have kids. They could be closer to their extended family. They could join some sort of community organization. That's all great and all something they should consider. But what about construction, this seemingly boring job that has no creativity to it? Maybe they take pride in building quality houses for their community. Every single time they put up a piece of wood for that house, they imagine the family that is going to live there. And so every single bit of work they do with love because they know their work is going to be appreciated. And so even if there's no creativity in their job because they're following a plan from an architect and maybe they have a supervisor, they can just think of what they're going to achieve. When I worked in customer service, I used to do tech support for the Kindles for Amazon. I thought, how can I make someone who is having a terrible day because their device isn't working or they don't know how to use it, either have their problem solved or replace their Kindle if they need it? And you know what? Almost everyone in that department who worked on Kindle tech support actually really liked their job because they were able to help people. Sometimes there would be really complex cases that would require dealing with their internet service provider, dealing with tech issues, and it would take multiple days to resolve. But even if somebody called in and they were screaming, almost always by the end of the call, they were happy. I could tell they were smiling, and that was because I fixed their problem. I helped them feel that someone was listening to them. And whatever you do, whatever goals you have, you can put love into that situation, love into that pursuit, and it is going to make the world a better place, and it's going to make your world a better place, your experience a better place, and you're going to have a lot of fulfillment. So, pile 3, I'm so happy to do this reading for you today. If you resonated with this reading, be sure to like and subscribe for more. You can also book a private reading in the description or comments of this video. But otherwise, pile 3, I am wishing you the best May 2026.